Hey guys, so today we're going to be talking about discipline versus motivation, and I actually have this really nice view here going on for me, so I thought this would be the best place to do it. I guess the main difference I find between discipline and motivation is that discipline will get you to places that motivation can't. And what I mean by this is that growing up, I didn't heavily rely on motivation, but it was always something where I would say, man, I wish I was more motivated, man, like I need some motivation right now. But that isn't entirely, I think, what I was seeking. It was a misinterpretation on my part. And motivation is that feeling. For me, I think there's the good motivation where, if you got a B plus and you really wanted an A in a class, or you just lost in the finals and you're like, man, I really want to beat that team again, that can motivate you. There's also a lot of times motivation where you think it's a good thing, but it's that urge at 2 a.m. to want to clean your room, or you think you're invincible and you can take over the world, and you're like, oh, I feel so motivated right now, I can do so much. But oftentimes motivation, that kind of motivation, is just it's a hopeful thought. It never gets put on paper, it never gets acted out anywhere. It's just lost into the air. Whereas discipline is more like thought through, and it's acted. It's a consistent habit, and it's something that you can see. Motivation is just I'm really motivated to do this. Discipline is feelings aside and emotions aside, you're determined to act out a certain way. And that's why I say that discipline is different, because growing up, when I felt heavily motivated, where I relied on that feeling of motivation, I noticed that I kept failing, which is fine, but I was failing in the same spots. I was failing constantly towards the end of the semester. I was failing to stay consistent with my training regimen when I was playing hockey, and I was failing at a lot when life got hard, or when life got real. And it wasn't so easy to say, oh, like, I'm motivated, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna work at my school for 5 months straight, because it's foolish to think that it's gonna be easy, or that motivation's gonna solve everything. And it's not. Life's all about ups and downs, and the whole growth pattern is not a linear progression. It's a lot of ups and downs, it's a lot of back and forth, and discipline. The reason that I find it so important is because discipline will get you the result, or will get you through the journey, whether or not you're feeling it, or whether or not you feel motivated. Discipline is knowing what to do and putting your feelings aside and doing it anyway. If I have a big test, Monday morning, I'm not going to go out Saturday night, or just watch TV all day Sunday. I might want to, and my friends might say, hey, let's come out, let's go out together. But I would have the discipline to kind of think 1 or 2 steps ahead, to think about the big picture, to think about what's sustainable, and what my vision is. And if there's conflicting interest, then my discipline takes over, and hey, I'm gonna make the smart decision, and I should prepare for my test, or whatever it is. And motivation is just, if I solely relied on motivation, then Monday morning comes around and I'm thinking, oh, like, I'm motivated, like, I'm gonna cram out studying, blah blah blah, and I tend to get the same results, which was falling short. And so I think discipline, especially the older we get, especially when we get into college, it takes a while to train ourselves to listen to that voice, to listen to, no one wants to, stay in on a Saturday night. It's not as fun, but discipline will help you reach the goals that you want to achieve. There's a train passing by in a second here. Maybe we can see it. Wait for it. It's right here. And so I've come to value a lot more what discipline has in store for me. And like I said, it's less of what I want to do and more of what I need to do. Discipline helps me kick in that thought process. What do I need to do right now? Like, for example, you could say discipline eating habits. After a workout, man, like cupcake sounds great. A shake sounds great, but I know it's not the best for my recovery. I know my stomach won't feel great. And there's a time and a place for that. And there's a time and a place to be disciplined and know to do what's best for you. And I think that's been a big learning goal for me, is to value the discipline I have and to listen to it. Because oftentimes we like to push it aside, but it is what's best for us. And so I've seen myself kind of shift over and start to prioritize discipline. And motivation's great, but it's not always going to be there. It's not always there when life's hard. It's not always going to be there when life doesn't make sense. And you're like, man, like, where's my motivation? Why am I not feeling propelled to do anything or to push forward? Discipline keeps you grounded. It keeps you rooted, and it makes you understand, like, whether or not life's tough, whether or not things are going my way, I stick to the process. I keep going and I keep doing what I'm doing. And sometimes that takes months to see the results you want. Sometimes it's quicker. But you're a lot more consistent in your effort, as opposed to motivation where, you can give up or you can go all in, and it's very back and forth. Discipline kind of keeps you even keel. And so I would say, lastly, it's great to have both. Understanding both is very important. Discipline definitely has tied me into the greater successes I've seen, the more strenuous journeys I've been on. And I think it's not given the right amount of appreciation. People like to think results, success, is just instantaneous gratification, when most of the time it's not. And if that was the case, I'd feel motivated to do something, and every time I would succeed. When in reality, there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and it takes a lot of discipline to get the results you want, to have the life you want, to see the progress you want. And again, that is it needs to be a trained skill, just like anything else, to listen to it. And again, it's not always fun. It's not always, a perfect example would be, like I said, going out when you have a test Monday morning, and everyone around you would be like, oh, like, you're so boring, you're no fun. And in my mind, I think that there's a balance to it, and you need to be able to balance between having fun and getting your priorities done first. And in a perfect world, you get your priorities done and you have fun. It's the whole work hard, play hard motto. But life happens when you make plans, and sometimes they don't line up, and you need to prioritize what's more important in your life. And a couple days later, you might have had a great night, but there's not that much value in it that passes over the next day and the next day. Or you studied for that test and you did well on it, because you made the disciplined decision, and that carries over for the semester, and that boosts your grade, and that keeps you well maintained and helps you reach the goals you want for that semester or whatever time period that is. And so maybe it is not more fun, quote unquote, but you take a lot more pride and joy in knowing that you did what you desire and that you followed your purpose. So those are the main differences. I think it's great to have both, but there is a great distinction between the two, and I don't think they're interchangeable. So my advice is to kind of nourish and develop that discipline, to understand it and understand how it affects you and your goals, and to listen to it. Motivation's great, but it can also be misleading, and I don't think, motivation's not always going to be there when you need it. But if you have discipline in your foundation and you care for it, it'll help you reach the goals that you want to reach. Thank you.